This cabin's been sitting here for 50 years, and over that time, it's sunk in some spots, and those beams have changed shape. They've gotten warped, and so you can't just jack it up in certain spots and fix them and flatten them out. They're now fixed to that shape that they've moved to. Thus the reason why I milled all those beams with my mom and Tim. Those are all nice and flat, and I'm gonna redo each row so that I have a nice flat cabin, just like I do along the backside here. But we just gotta go one row at a time. Whoever installed the 2x6 tongue and groove that is currently the floor of the cabin, ideally they're supposed to span between the beams underneath the cabin with no seam in between. But in this one spot, you can see this line where the 2x6s, they don't span the entire distance between the two beams. And so there was this extra framing that they installed to compensate and like take the weight of that spot right there. But that was going to be in the way of my temporary beams that I need to put in there. So I had to tear all that stuff out. You can feel it right now. If I walk over there in the corner, if I jump up and down too hard, I could bust through the floor right there because it's really weak. There's no support right there. No, you don't want to be around here. Go. 59 inches. Exactly. All right, I did a bit more adjusting last night, going back and forth with these jacks, getting this beam in the position that I wanted. And this morning I was going to bust out the laser, but I don't think I need to, because this beam and that beam are already at proper grade at the top. So all I needed to do was just match up the tops of these to the tops of those. It's just matching up lines and screwing these jacks in the proper position. Now that I got a jack on each end, I'm going to measure and cut a post for the middle. I'll set that one in place first, and then I'll do the ends. Right now, girl. Oh, I forgot to. No. Oh my gosh, I forgot to put this on there. All right, that's pretty good progress on this part of the project so far. Apparently I only bought 2 of those brackets when I planned on doing this a long time ago, so I need another one to finish this, but I'm gonna move on to doing other stuff now. broke the blade. There's like one more nail left somewhere and I can't find it. There it is. Oh. Oh. All right, I think that's all I'm gonna do for the rest of the day because it's gonna get really hot, like 90 degrees. It already is pretty warm out, so I'm gonna release the hound. Yeah, you ready to go, girl? Yeah. Good job waiting, girl. Good job waiting, thank you. We're gonna go to the river and have some fun. Get your stick. Get your stick. Yeah, me, These two that I just moved were the greenest ones, so those are the heaviest, and I'm putting them off to the side. So this is the next row of beams that I'm going to install. I'm setting these aside because hopefully by the end they might be a little bit lighter. I don't know. Actually, no, wait, these are extras. Yeah, these are the two extras. But when I was unloading them from the trailer, they were the heaviest. So the super green are the ones that I'm going to set aside. Oh. There's the two beams that I just took out. These two closest to me. That's a lot of nails in each one of those that I had to cut through. Sit. Paw. Good girl. Good girl. Okay, now that I got the laser set up, what I'm gonna do is make sure all these beams are straight with each other using that string that I screwed in place yesterday. They're not gonna be up tight against the floor yet. I'll leave the jacks down a little bit so that I can move them this way and that, get them nice and straight using the string, and then I will jack the cabin up so that all the beams are at the same level as, well, the one along the back, that's my benchmark. Eat your ball, man. Eat your ball. Okay. Eighth of an inch. 1/16 of an inch. Pretty much there, but we'll go pretty much there. Now that the beams are nice and straight with each other, they're level, this way I can measure the length that each one of these posts needs to be. Yeah, measure me. Why did you get in the way? I'm in my way. Okay, let's make our cuts, Mia. Watch out, girl. Watch out, I gotta go right there. Watch out. No need for this string anymore. Now it's time to fasten all these posts and beams together. Now that all these beams are at level grade, and I want to show you guys this before I move on to that. Just like the second row of beams, check this out. See all that light coming through? I can stick my hand in between here. That's how far out of level that floor is. It's about 3/4 of an inch right here in this spot. So it's tight on the ends, and then the floor goes up like this, like a big wave. That same thing was happening on the second row over there. So this end's tight right here, touching the floor. This right here is where the biggest gap is. I can fit my hand underneath there up to my knuckles basically. So there's a pretty big gap in the floor right here, but then it's touching on that end. Now it's nice and flat, girl. Now it's nice and flat. Or will be flat once I finish every row and then go inside and screw from the inside down, fasten the floor to the beams. But that's when all this is done. Yeah, that's the last thing. I can't do the screwing now because I got to remove the flooring, expose the plywood, screw through the plywood, and then put new flooring down. It needs new flooring in there anyways for many different reasons. There's a burn mark in the floor right there. I burnt the floor right here when a piece of firewood fell out of the stove and onto the floor. Over here in the corner, this is where I just did all that extra framing. And then over here by the sliding glass door, this whole area, look at the gaps in the flooring there. That was tight when I started this project, but because I flattened out the floor, it stretched it out, which seems kind of backwards, but when they installed the flooring, the floor was too low. And now that I made the floor flat again, the flooring expanded. It's kind of weird. Same thing here in the bathroom. Look at the gaps in the flooring. So this whole floor is gonna come out. I've talked about that before. Overall, the tongue and groove flooring looks to be in decent shape up under here, except for the bathroom. Once you get to the bathroom wall right here, so there's the plumbing for the toilet right there. These ones are not great, even past that point where I cut. Those need to be replaced, but that's gonna have to be a future project done from the inside of the cabin. I got plans to renovate the bathroom, and when I do that, I'm probably gonna cut out the floor, and there'll be a big hole in there, and I'm gonna replace everything. Actually, the previous owner, he told me that there was a leak in the shower at one point, and the pipes froze, and then it burst, and he didn't know it. And one time he came back up here, turned the water on, and the shower, the whole wall for the shower was just soaking wet. So that got all wet, and then it rotted. Now I'm gonna install some new stuff, but I'm getting ahead of myself there. I just wanted to explain that more extensively. I haven't really explained that yet in this series of videos, so there you go. All right, everybody, third row of beams installed underneath the cabin. That's a huge accomplishment. Completing this third row means I'm halfway done with the main part of the cabin foundation. Then there's 2 more rows that support the front porch area. This front part used to be part of the deck, but then these walls got built, but you know what I mean. And I'm liking the way it's looking so far. Next time I go to Home Depot, I'm gonna get one more of those brackets so I can finish this part. I'm gonna backfill around these piers, but not let the dirt touch the wood here. Just fill to probably about right here, which will be just about right between this area. I've got all this dirt to utilize for fill, and I'm gonna fill around and between all of these footings here, just even things out between all these rows of everything. You guys may have noticed the big gap between this one and that one. There isn't a post 4 feet in between, and that's because all that plumbing is right there. All the pipes that come from that area of the cabin and go into this shutoff valve box go right where the pad would be if I did pour one. This is right underneath a bedroom closet, so there's really never going to be a substantial amount of weight right here. So I think the support here is very sufficient. If someone did wanted to add something in the future, these pipes could be moved a little bit that way, and you could I probably could have made it work, but I was like, it's not that important. I still haven't gotten to the wiring that needs to be redone. All these wires that are hanging down and this box right here, this needs to be put back in place, add some staples back to this wire, make it look a lot better and safer. And then you guys may have noticed on the ends here, I didn't put those blocks like I did with the rest of the posts and beams. That's because I'm realizing I should get more of these L brackets just for the ends here, because these are gonna get in the way of the framing for the skirting that is eventually going to be here. So I'll add those L brackets to my shopping list. Same thing over on this side. I'll take these off and then put brackets there all the way along the side, because this right here on the side is going to be framed just like that. Eventually that'll go all the way around the cabin, but all that will be done in future videos. I'm going to go relax. It's hot, it's sunny. Mia and I are going to go down to the river, have some fun. See you guys on the next one. Thanks for checking this one out. Bye. Get it, get it, get it. Oh, babe. Oh, yeah. She caught a fish. Really don't know what I'm doing here, so I hope it's good. I'm gonna try the salmon egg. This is what Julia used yesterday to catch the fish, so. Oh my gosh, that's bigger than yesterday. Oh.